Lord, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to another Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. Grateful, thankful for this day, time, and opportunity. Thank you so very much for joining us on today as we did prepare to lead you in a very special way in today's Good Morning Grief Devotion. This is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and my sisters, this is the natural, normal, necessary response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is how we reveal it on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. And that's why we shout, good morning, good morning, good morning, because morning is indeed a good thing. And I'm so glad that you're here with us on today as we did prepare to lead you in a very special way in today's Good Morning Grief Devotion. We have been talking about the many faces of grief. We've been exploring the various types of grief that are out there. I hope it's been a blessing to you. Hope that you've been able to just become more aware and learn about different forms of grief. And today is no different. Today is day 44. Thank y'all for coming back for some more. We're going to talk about when grief is delayed. We're going to talk about delayed grief. What is delayed grief? There's a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. Sometimes grief doesn't arrive right away. In the moment of loss, you do what needs to be done. You handle arrangements, support others, keep life moving. Survival mode takes over, and grief waits, right? Sometimes it's delayed, and this is so true. Whether it's that week, that week leading up to 2 weeks, or whatever the case may be, it can be delayed. I'll tell y'all this story before. We got new people on here, so it's new to you. When I was working in the school system, lunchtime I was playing basketball with the kids and I sprained my ankle or something. It was hurt and I could barely walk on it. So when I came home for that weekend, or that weekend when I was at home, I was in the back room on the back couch. Now, mind you, I've been hobbling and can barely walk. I'm in the back room on the couch, the doorbell rings, Tamika goes to answer the door, she starts screaming, right? When she starts screaming, survival mode kicks in. I don't know what's going on. So I jump up. Now, mind you, I ain't walked. I've been hobbling all week, right? Hobbling. I can barely walk. When I tell you I ran to the front door, I don't, adrenaline kicks in. I ran to the front door because it's fight or flight. I was ready to fight. It's survival mode. I'm ready to get down because I don't know what's going on. So I get to the front door and she was just playing. Whoever it was, she was just playing and having fun and laughing. I got mad. I got mad. And she was just playing. She wasn't in danger. And so then I walk back to the couch and I think to myself, man, you walking. Like, how was you able to do that? But I knew that the only reason I was able to do that is because adrenaline kicked in. And I knew, I said, ooh, give it about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour. That adrenaline is going to be gone and I am going to feel the pain. And sure enough, about 30, 45 minutes, 60 minutes later, the adrenaline was gone and the pain kicked in, and it was even more intense before. Why do I tell this story? Because oftentimes when it comes to grief, right, it becomes delayed. We're in shock because what happened? They died, right? They passed away, they transitioned. So we're in shock. Now we gotta make phone calls. People showing up at the house with chicken and soda pop. The funeral home is calling. We're looking for papers. We gotta find an outfit. We gotta write the obituary. We making sure people got flight plans. Who got the body? Who gonna take the body? What church we gonna have it at? Who gonna preach and who gonna sing? Who gonna do this? Your adrenaline kicks in, and you're such in a rush trying to make arrangements that a lot of times it doesn't even sink in. It sinks in, but it doesn't sink in, right? And it's not until after, sometime after, right? After that adrenaline is gone, and after you ain't got to get the outfit no more, the church service is over, the chicken been served at the repast, everybody done went back home to Mississippi, and you sitting there and you get back to your normal routine. Does it really begin to sink in, right? That's when it really begins to hit you like, did the last 2 weeks just really happen? Because everything was a blur, but now you're back to normalcy and you're wondering, like, did it really happen? And that's when the grief really kicks in, right? For so many people, this is what we called delayed grief, right? Survival mode takes over, grief waits. Delayed grief shows up later, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, sometimes years after the loss. When life slows down, when safety returns, when your heart finally has room to feel, now it kicks in. Sometimes it's the 2 weeks after, it's the week after. Now you get time to feel because you're not ripping and running and doing all of this stuff, and it starts to kick in. Y'all remember Florida Evans? Y'all remember that famous line? Florida did that. Florida was making adjustments, doing this, that, and the other, ripping and running, getting the food, this, that, and the other. It's like, Mom, we concerned you ain't. She was leaking because she was frustrated. She was yelling at the kids, yelled at the because she's leaking. She's not letting out what she's feeling on the inside. And it came to that famous moment where she came to the realization of what happened, throws down that punch bowl and yells that famous word 3 times, right? Delayed grief, because sometimes it kicks in later on. If grief has surfaced long after the loss, you are not late to mourning. You are right on time. Delayed grief doesn't mean you avoided pain or loved less. It means your mind and body protected you until you were ready. That God designed us with this kind of mercy. He understands timing better than we do. You are not weak for feeling it now. You are not reopening old wounds. You are allowing healing to begin. God meets you not only at the moment of loss, y'all, but at the moment grief finally speaks. He is patient with your timing, gentle with your heart. And it is important that a lot of times people experience this, right? You may experience it. Um, and when it hits, when it finally comes, make sure you give yourself permission to feel and reveal. Make sure you give yourself permission to navigate through all of that, right? Don't suppress, don't conceal, don't ignore. You got to explore. Give yourself the opportunity, even if it is delayed, right? To feel what you need to feel. And this could be for any situation or circumstance. Remember, grief deals with loss, change, and transition. Sometimes it's not until, sometimes it just kicks in later, right? A job fires you or you leave abruptly. And so you on the hunt. I got to find a new job. You haven't processed what happened. You haven't looked back over the 10 years you was at the company. You're no, because I got to find a new job. So you on Indeed, your resumes, you calling people, you do this, that, and the other. You updating your resume, you doing all of this, you getting fields, you putting it out there, you going on interviews. You haven't had the time to process what happened with the other ones, right? Give yourself the opportunity to do that. And let me say this. I mentioned this before, especially if you've lost a spouse and you see yourself at some point in time, dating, remarrying, this, that, and the other. Give somebody who's grief aware. Get somebody who is aware when it comes to grief, because you may have spent 5, 10, 15, 20 years with the previous one. And those 5, 10, 15, 20 years doesn't get erased just because, you're at a time where you're ready to date somebody else or you're looking. No, it doesn't. So there's going to be moments with the new person that you're going to have, grief related to the old one, right? So get somebody who is aware, get somebody who understands. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. You're going to have troubles. You're going to have issues. You're going to have complications. They're not going to understand why you crying on that birthday. They're not going to understand why you crying on that anniversary day. They're not going to understand moments and triggers in different places and spaces and it comes up, right? And it's not about, because they'll be like, man, you not over him yet? You not over her yet? It's not about me. It's not about being over. You don't get over it. You go through it. It's a journey. And I'll forever have them with me. They wouldn't say that about your mama or your daddy. If your mama or daddy passed and you cry, they wouldn't be like, you ain't over that yet. You ain't over. No, they would understand. It's the same thing. It's a loss. It's a change. It's a transition. It's somebody I loved and somebody I love deeply. If you can't understand this, right? Red flag, hard pass, right? Because that's the reality of the situation. So, man, I hope this has been informative. I hope that you have been able to lean and glean, to grab something and to learn something on it all. That's right. Good morning, Miss Diane. Once again, show them some love on today. Happy heavenly birthday to my daddy, passed at 68. He would be 88 years old today. Come on. Sending love your way 20 years ago. 20. I went through that with my daddy. The day after the funeral was when it kicked in. I was in numb mode the minute I got the call. Yes. Delayed grief with my mama passing. I had just had a baby. Didn't really grieve her fully until Mark passed. Ooh, and that was some years later, wasn't it? Lord have mercy. Yep, you got it. Them are the words. Definitely gonna have to be grief aware and emotionally mature. Period. I needed, appreciated that. Find someone who can relate. Yes, you can't be a jealous of a dead person. Come on now, can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. That's right. You up early, Miss Diane, because it's your birthday. You want to experience every hour, don't you? I ain't mad at you. Hope and pray y'all have a phenomenal Friday. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place for another Good Morning Grief Devotion. Good morning.